What are you drinking today? Having a coffee?
Yes, I'm having coffee. Yes,
Hey, it's a coffee
yeah,
and a chat with Fran.
Yeah, it's a
it's about
coffee and two pints and a chat with Fran and Jules and Em.
don't forget to drink because it's bad luck if you don't drink after the cheer.
Right?
Yes.
Hey, Fran!
Hey guys, I'm so glad to
Good,
meet
yeah.
you guys and get to talk to you guys because I've known you for quite a while. Jules, I've known. I think I told you
MySpace.
since the MySpace days. She's
Yeah.
the person that I think I know the longest in terms of just like musicians, that
Because I'm so old and I've been around so long.
right. But it's I don't I've been trying to think the last few days how it is that we came to know each other on MySpace. And I think back in the day, you were just following. It was like a rabbit hole. You go in one place and then you end up in 5 other different pages that you didn't think you were going to end up at. And I remember, I think I was the one that found Jules' page, and back in the day, her page was amazing. She had all this artwork, the Pink Logic artwork, and I mean, it was just covered in it. She had a really cool wallpaper. Remember, you used to put wallpaper on these pages?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
HTML
those are
code.
the days.
Right. And she had all this cool wallpaper, and so like the aesthetic. She had this really well thought out aesthetic,
Oh.
and so that's the first thing that that caught my eye. And I remember, let me check out this music. And then I was sold. As soon as I heard the first track, it was this combination of electronic IDM with like a feel for the music from Warp Records, the UK label, and
yeah, kind of
which I that's what I grew up with in the 90s. And I thought, wow, this is a fantastic artist. This is someone who knows what she's doing in terms of aesthetic and music.
You have a good impression of knowing what I'm doing.
Right. I mean,
really.
you left a very positive impression on me, and it was a no-brainer because I thought, okay, this is really good music. And then you back in the day, everyone was so much friendlier. You would make a comment and people would comment back, and you sort of built this rapport. And I remember leaving a comment on Jules, and then she replied, and then here and there we'd leave comments on each other's pages, and from comments went to messages, and then from that you start following her YouTube page, and you just she releases more stuff, and then just realize, okay, this is a growing artist. I mean, she already has.
I thought the same about you as well, Fran.
Oh, thank you. That was okay. But
immediately taken with your sound.
Thank you. It's just, but it was sort of like someone you could look up to in terms of, oh wow, this person has a good overall idea of what they're doing with your creativity. For myself, back then, I just kind of was everywhere. I liked everything. I like to try everything, and but I didn't really know what I wanted to focus on. As opposed to Jules, she knew like everything.
Not entirely.
Well, I mean, it came across that way, After all, it is the internet. You always have a perception of people which is only partial to the actual reality, right? But from that, from everything that anyone would go to her page and be exposed to her music and her visuals. You get the sense that at least what you were putting out was a very focused result of what all the creativity stuff that you must have been exploring back in the day. It's very distilled, as opposed to me. My stuff was not distilled. My stuff was just kind of trying to cover a lot of things and not really.
Me too.
Right.
I think you
So,
have a very. I noticed you had quite and I mean this as an absolute compliment. I think you had quite a nice retro kind of sound, which I was particularly drawn to. I just really enjoyed the your melodies and everything. Just really, well, your melodies are brilliant. Anyway, this interview is about you, Fran. It's not about me.
You know what it is? I'm excited to finally talk to you because we've known each other for.
Yeah, I know.
And
it's very nice of you to say such nice things. I do appreciate it.
And when Em approached me with this, I thought, I get to talk to her. We've grown so much as artists and as
yeah, that's true.
people.
And you did a wonderful remix of one of my tracks.
Remixes. When I'm afraid when people ask me, well, not afraid, but I always cringe when people ask me for remixes because I feel like I never do it justice.
We all feel that way, Fran. Just to say, we all feel that way. Totally.
Okay, so it's normal. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Millie, by the way. Say hi,
Millie. Oh.
Can you just let me go out potty, please?
I was gonna say, I was telling Jules, I was like, have you seen Fran's Instagram? Because you've got these beautiful panoramic nature shots and stuff of all those gorgeous parks in California that you go to. And I'm like, not only do you love, nature, you also love animals. You're just all around awesome. Your music is incredible. You're just awesome, Fran. Just freaking awesome.
I'm glad you think so.
I agree. I can see that you're into modular.
You know what?
A modular going on in the background there.
I have been studying modular for a couple of years now.
Okay.
And
Nice.
I began with this piece called PO 400 that is made by Teenage Engineering.
Right.
And it's a very self-contained piece. And at the time that it came out, modular synthesis was something very foreign to me. It looked amazing. And it looked like the kind of reason why I got into electronic music in the first place, because the keyboards and synthesizers, they growing up, they look very foreign, very alien, but very they called it me. It's like, oh, this technology. There's something about the technology of it. Modular synthesizers, kind of, it was the ultimate in that kind of idea. That it looks very technological. It looks very, just very interesting overall. But it looks like a big commitment. It doesn't look like it's user friendly, and it's something that as a parent, and it's just someone that would rather be out there hiking, and you think, oh, something like this, it's gonna take me away from all the other things that I have. But then, I thought, oh, this self-contained unit, it's cheap, it's for modular, and I believe it was only about $5.99, which is for modular. Sometimes a single module costs that much. What you're looking at back there is this subharmonicon and the and Mother 32. Which is semi-modular. So you don't necessarily need to know a whole lot of modular synthesis to use those to synthesize. There are actually two of them. They're in a rack. So and they both perform different functions, but because of their modular nature, you can interface one with the other, and in very interesting ways. These are much friendlier than the PO400 because it's only semi-modular, so you can do more stuff. You can hook up a
more
keyboard.
user-friendly.
Yeah, you can hook up a keyboard via MIDI, and you can just play directly with it. One of the things that I've found with modular synthesis, is you have all these cables, and you're plugging one in, and then another one, and you kind of it sort of becomes this meditative thing, for at least for me, where it becomes this search for sound.
Ooh, I like that.
Different possibilities. Being a hiker and being someone who not only hikes but also does a lot of cross country, I often get off the trail and I go search for the peaks where hardly anybody goes.
That's a wonderful metaphor that you've just used there.
And so it's very much in tune with going off trail and just trying to find things and sort of trying to find the summit, so to speak, which the summit being the sound that is going to attract you, and you're going to follow through to the end of the compositional process. In the Sierra Nevada, which is north of Los Angeles, and it's covers an area of the Kings National Park and Kings Canyon National Park. I'm sorry, and then Inyo National Park and John Muir as well, and there's a lot of just like this beautiful granite mountains out there. They're very high elevation. 14,000 feet, which I forget what it translates to meters, but I think it's over 4,000 meters. I think.
How long have you been doing mountaineering?
Oh gosh, I have been doing it. Well, it's I have been doing it since I started hiking in 2007. I started hiking in 2007. Very just like hiking, 5 miles here, 10 miles there on trails, not a whole lot of elevation in the hikes. And but I've always, ever since I was a kid, I've always loved geography. I remember my first geography class was on when I was in 8th grade, I believe. And for some reason, I just loved it. I was one of those kids that had trouble focusing in class, and I would always get in trouble with the teacher. And I was a fairly smart kid, but my thing was focus. So that lack of focus showed up in my grades. You know what? I want to say maybe I have ADD, but at the same time, the teachers were kind of boring.
You know what? Maybe we all have a touch of it, because it just, but that, like you just said, it took something that really hooked you for your focus to go.
It just seemed like it seemed very easy to me compared to everything else. And it engaged me. I think that's a problem that I've always had. It's hard for me to feel engaged. It takes a special kind of, because I have had teachers in the past where they're very engaging and I'm there with them. So I definitely respond to a certain type of process when given information.
Everyone learns in different ways.
Right.
I mean, I think going back to what Em just said about we all have a little bit of ADHD, I think I had a little bit of it when it came to maths. I was just bored shitless in maths. And I did very bad in maths. But then I retook it a few years later and I had a brilliant teacher.
Mhm.
And I got a, quite a reasonable grade.
Yeah.
So,
No, you know, I almost didn't pass the seventh. No, actually, I didn't pass the seventh grade because of math. And so I had to have the tutor. I had to have a tutor during the summer, and in order to retake a test to pass the seventh grade.
Yeah.
And the tutor was amazing, and I thought like, oh, you know, I learned so much with that tutor. I aced the test. I passed the grade, and I actually, because of that teacher, I did so much better the following grade.
Excellent.
And but I think it was one of those things where, like you said, you know, it just some people respond to information better in certain ways than others. And
some people are more
we're also very
synesthesia learning, you know, they kind of learn by doing. And then there's people who are very, you know, more kind of visual learning.
Right. And you know, the brain just, we're all so different. Our brains are wired so differently. We can't all learn the same way. You know, we just can't.
And people can't all, that's another thing. It's a chain, right? You had to find the right teacher that spoke the language that made sense to you, like to the way that you learn. So thank you, teachers out there, all you wonderful teachers and all the different teaching styles. Like, thank you.
Totally.
Cheers to the teachers.
Cheers to the teachers.
To your mountaineering question, you know, I've always loved geography, and then when, you know, I'm originally from Mexico.
How old were you when you moved to the States? You've been here since you were little, right?
Well, since I was 13, you know, and if you get me a little bit drunk, then I have an accent.
I get super Southern when I'm drunk. So what part of Mexico were you born? Just out of curiosity.
I was born in Hermosillo, Sonora. Hermosillo is the capital of the state of Sonora, which is right under Arizona. If you look at a map, just below it, that's the state I was born in.
I think my parents literally live like right there. They're in Sierra Vista in the mountains in Arizona, like right on the border. So they're probably real close to that part.
I'd really like to know where you got the name Forest Robots from.
Okay, so you know, it's like you said, forest part is obvious. You know, when my daughter was born, you know, Forest Robots came after my daughter was born, and you know, the first couple of years, you know, with my daughter, I was introducing her to all kinds of music, you know, and you know, music's always been a big part for the both of us. And
awesome dad. That's an awesome dad right there, everybody.
To this day, and I remember, I think she was about 2 years old, and I remember putting Kraftwerk and Man Machine. And they have that song, Robots, right?
Yeah.
And she loved the song. She just, you know, it's amazing.
She has great taste, your daughter.
Someone, you know, I found that it's a lot of Kraftwerk songs work great as kids songs.
Yeah, they're very simplistic. And
exactly, and they're just very welcoming, and they're just very, you know, like you said, it's. You know, sometimes the word simplistic can be taken as offensive, but it's not that it's simplistic in that it's not complex, but it's simplistic and it's very welcoming. It's very and I remember she loved that song, and we often, you know, we'd be dancing in the living room, you know, saying we are the robots, and you know, and she just absolutely loved that, and so then. Around that time too, you know, I started introducing her to Star Wars. Mostly just the robots, you know, the droids like R2D2, C3PO, you know, and so it was none of that Jedi stuff, you know, because it was I felt like, oh, she can't be looking at Jedis killing each other. That's, you know, too soon, you know, or like spaceships, you know, blasting each other, you know. But the robots part of it, you know, that you know, that was something that she responded to, you know, and so you know, the first couple of years, everything robots she loved, and so then, you know, that's how, I thought, okay, this project is basically for posterity. All this music that I'm making is part of all the pictures that I'm compiling of our adventures, and then I've been writing short stories of my previous hiking adventures,
Oh,
and
cool.
just things, like things that I've found out, about myself, about life, I've been stuck in really difficult situations out there in the mountains, and I've been up at 14,000 feet in electrical storms, and I've seen the lightning come down and hit the mountain and just be like, oh, and I have to walk that way where the lightning just hit, and I know that the saying, lightning never hits twice in the same place,
but it can.
But no comfort whatsoever, It's like, well, it already hit there, but no, it's still, I don't feel comfortable walking that way. But I've been through blizzards. I've hiked in blizzards, in the snow, all kinds of storms, floodings in the mountains. You name it, I've been through it.
All the music that you're doing as Forest Robots, it's like a musical picture book. Is that kind of
and I think my hope with this project, I keep saying this for posterity, is that I hope this is something, my legacy to her, and a primer. Part of it is a primer for when she goes through difficult times. Lucky if I'm still around when she's in her mid-30s. That's just the reality of it. It's okay. It's just the reality of it. You never know. Shoot, when I'm in the mountains, anything can happen to you, but I don't take as many risks as I used to. And that's the thing, you only have control of what you can do. And in this world, the best thing for me is that the best thing you can do is acknowledge with gratitude that you are alive to experience one more day and experience people, interactions with people, and bonding with people, and then just know that just the fact that like right now, the fact that we're talking to each other, and we're worlds apart, and we're still able to have these conversations, get to know each other.
Amazing.
That plays a lot into the whole Forest Robots thing, where because I don't know how long I'll be around, but I want to leave her with something. I want to leave her with sort of a box of memories, so to speak, proverbial box of memories of all the stuff that we've done together. Experience, and would like to share with her my experience with her. And so that's the whole thing with Forest Robots, and it's interesting that, I wasn't even going to share this project. I was pretty much done with music and the way that I do it in terms of sharing. And
I'm glad you did. I just got to say that. I'm glad you did.
Amen.
We never would have got to hear it,
Amen.
It's been lovely meeting you, Fran.
Yeah, likewise.
And thank you so much for coming on our podcast. And
thank you so much for having me.
We look forward to hearing. You're welcome. And we look forward to hearing more of your wonderful forest robots.
Yes, more stuff should be coming out later.